Hi, folks. I'm Father Joe Grimaldi. You can call me Joe, and I'd like to welcome you to my podcast. But now, here's our host and friend, Ken Calvert.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ken Calvert alongside the good Father Joe Grimaldi, and we would like to welcome you to the Father Joe Grimaldi podcast. Well, this one is just for the friends of the Father Joe Grimaldi podcast. Going on right now at Hoot McInerney Star Lincoln, you can enjoy the opportunity to build your Lincoln. That's right. Visit our showroom in Southfield, Michigan, or simply log on to starlincoln.com. You can build your Lincoln Corsair. How about a Nautilus, the Aviator, or the beautiful Navigator? Experience the power of Sanctuary in your custom-ordered Lincoln vehicle. You pick the color, the interior, the wheels, and you can choose between gas or your plug-in hybrid. The benefits that come from owning a Lincoln-certified pre-owned vehicle will exceed your expectations. Hoot McInerney Star Lincoln, located on 12 Mile Road, just east of Telegraph, in beautiful Southfield. Or you can always visit us at starlincoln.com. Star Lincoln, home of the Father Joe Star treatment. Happy Easter, my friend.
Well, happy Easter to you. Spring has been a long time coming.
And a lot of people are feeling good again, with the exception of geo events that are out of our control. So sure. I want to talk about us, about people that are now trying to live day by day and go back to what we considered to be normal, the regular aspects of life, like a wedding. Weddings are up 40% from a year ago. No surprise. They're up 70% from 2020. I mean, people that wanted to get married in 2020 had to reset the dates because of the halls and everything else. Most of the people from 2020 are getting married in 2022. There will be a larger amount next year because of the 2021s not having anything available now till 2023. So a lot of people have postponed or put off their weddings. I want to address, number one, the elephant in the room. I noticed another trend in weddings. 40% of the weddings that happened last year were performed by the friends of the bride and groom, not somebody from ministry. Your thoughts on that?
Well, obviously, if they belong to a particular sect of the faith, that's not allowed, but they do it anyway. Well, first of all, as a priest, I'm not allowed to do weddings outside of the church setting. The other thing, too, is a lot of people forget that in order for a wedding to happen, there's a 6-month preparation usually. Basically, it is a matter of trying to discuss the finer points of marriage and discuss them, among the three, the priest and the two people who are getting married. But things like communication, which is one of the big red flags in marriages that go south. Communication is a big one. Finances is another one, and intimacy is another one. Those are the three things that have to be thoroughly discussed, I feel, before we allow people to get married within the church. Mm-hmm. And so we do have those meetings. Now, I think you're speaking about the receptions rather than the weddings. The receptions have increased because, let me say, in 2020, when people wanted to get married, one of my recommendations was, why don't we have a very quiet wedding, just the two of you, the two witnesses, and your parents, mm-hmm. and then have a big celebration when this pandemic is over with. And so some people took that to heart, not all, but some did, and so they're going to be looking for places to do receptions. And basically, it's not called a wedding, it's called an announcement of marriage, I guess, because they're already married, but this is a year or two after they were actually married. Now we're going to have a big celebration. Another thing I thought, too, is let's get married quietly, and then when you have a milestone is what I'm looking for, a milestone of anniversaries, then have a big blowout, if you want, a big reception. And this way you can be more comfortable. Because in 2020 and 2021, you know that it was difficult to gather in big groups for fear of the virus.
Right.
So it would be better just to do. So what I'm thinking is this. The increase in receptions is certainly grown. The weddings a little bit, because they still did the weddings did the marriages, I should say, without having the big celebration, and then afterwards had the celebration.
What I'm talking about is the actual wedding with the reception that day. That number is 40% since 2015. Since 2015, 40% of the people, the ministers at these weddings, are family friends.
I hear that a lot.
Okay. And again, you've discussed it, but you've discussed it from the technical point of the church, I think. In other words, how it's supposed to be, correct?
Well, yeah, it's not allowed.
How do you personally feel about it? Because you know what's going on around you with people you know.
Yeah, there's nothing I can do to change it. These are people that are not practicing Catholics, so it's a moot point in a way. They're people that don't believe in the traditional type of religion, and therefore, to them, it's more meaningful to have somebody come in and do the wedding. Now, the problem I see with that is not just the faith aspect, but there's a lack of preparation. I mean, there's more to a wedding than a reception. But a lot of people don't see it that way. Mm-hmm. And I always remind them, and I know it's a tired saying, but the wedding itself, I should say the marriage itself, is a lifetime event. The reception is only 3 hours at most, maybe 4 hours. Mm-hmm. But they forget that part. You're going to have to live with this person for the rest of your life if you truly believe in a marriage that's supposed to be for better or for worse and forever. And so what happens is we've already got rid of that notion. You know what? My Uncle John, I'm going to call him and say, John, could you do a wedding for us on, let's see, it's now April, let's see, how about June 1st? Oh, yeah, sure, that'll be fine. Well, again, you're leaving out the preparation, you're leaving out the thinking about what a marriage is supposed to be. Not that that's going to solve all the problems of marriage, but at least it's going to make it a serious event. Vowing to each other for the rest of your life is a very serious event.
I think people, and I don't want to use the word selfish, but I think I'm going to have to use it because I believe that, as we've discussed before, people tend to get away from what's really happening and really are focusing nearly 99% of their interests on their wedding. Who's going to make the cut? Who can't make the cut? The people that need to make the cut but can't make the cut, not to mention cut the cake, not to mention get the hall. But then when it's all done and everything's ready to go, now it's all, people are encouraged to send out the virtual save the date. Do that by text or by computer. Okay?
Right.
Save the date. You know that everybody now is using, not everyone, but a lot of people are
a lot of people
are using Evite for
Correct.
Will attend, won't attend, maybe. Okay? And then it's updated, the algorithm goes through and takes care of that. They now have a save the date. And those people that are on Save the Date are obviously going to get the invite. So you're seeing all of this go down. Then at the very end of this chain is, oh, Dad, can you make sure or check into how we can get the chapel at St. Hugo or historic St. Anne or St. Josephat? You know, just one of the great churches. I'd like it to be down there. Well, then, if I were a priest and they all of a sudden said, here comes Don and Bonnie, and you're going to, marry him, Father, and you go through, to them, the church was just another part of the overall beauty of their personal beauty. Does that make sense to you?
Oh, it is, but the churches don't allow it until it's at least 6 months ahead of time.
Well, yeah, okay.
They can't do that.
I totally, and you know what, though? They've got that time. They have that 6 months Can I tell you what I honestly think about?
Sure.
I honestly think they dread it, but they'll do it because they want that church as part of the beauty.
But the other thing, too, is they have to be worshiping there.
Okay. I think, here's what I think. I'm just playing devil's advocate. I think maybe people pull strings on occasion to get that done. How do you feel about that?
I know they do.
Okay.
But there's only so many strings you can pull.
Uh-huh.
Because you can't really get through the archdiocese without a lot of red tape.
Mm-hmm.
And so in order to pull strings, you're going to have to pull an awful lot of strings.
Okay.
Because the archdiocese will stop you along the way. No preparation, no marriage. No worship, no marriage. All of these different things. Okay, now, my grandmother was married in that church. I would like to be able to be married in that church. Well, it takes more than just because your grandmother was married there.
Yeah.
And I think I think what the church is trying to do is make sure people realize that they're doing something serious. It's not another party. I mean, if you're going to have another party, why bother getting married? I mean, just have a big party.
I know exactly what you're saying. It's certainly not something that's on my radar because I'm coming up on my 40th wedding anniversary, actually.
God bless you.
Oh, yeah.
That's beautiful.
Seems like only yesterday that Ann and I were wed. I find weddings fascinating now because I go to weddings, specifically how much religion plays any part, if at all, now at the service when it's done by friend. You know, the friend, the friend marries friends.
Sure.
And they can legally do it. They can go get a wedding certificate. There's nothing dark about it. It's not underground.
No. It's easy to get one.
Yeah. And I just wondered, I wanted to get your take, and I think a couple of more things. I know that you're a tough guy to get things out of. But let me ask you this.
Sure.
You know all of this is going on. And yet on occasions, I know that you haven't done this. Are there people out there that think a couple of grand might help out fix that leak in the back, and if you could just do me a large and marry my daughter or my son here? And
since the beginning of time, people have been susceptible to that.
Okay.
I don't care if they're popes, bishops, cardinals, or priests, or laymen, bankers, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
People love to hear about a few $1,000. I shouldn't do that, but it sure seems inviting. And so maybe if it's going to be 10,000, okay, I'll do it. So if they do it, though, this is the thing. For example, with the Catholic Church, that's the only thing I'm really familiar with right now.
Yeah.
If a priest does that and it's found out, he can lose his faculties to continue priesthood.
He could be defrocked or whatever the case.
Whatever you call it.
Whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. I would think sometimes that money may not be used for personal reasons, but maybe for church purposes. Who knows? It just should not be done. It should be done the old-fashioned way, which should always just be the new-fashioned way. And listen to me. I've broken so many rules and
everybody has.
In this lifetime that believe me, I'll spend some time with my pals in purgatory, I'm sure. But not a bad starting place.
No.
Or so I've been told by the cardinals, the ones that fly around and talk.
That's right.
And tweet in my little head.
They let you know what's going on.
It's going to be a very active summer. I suspect you're getting requests. Probably you're going to probably have a busy summer with weddings as well.
Yeah, it's interesting you say summer. All of a sudden, the preponderance of weddings that we're having are in the fall and winter.
No kidding.
Yeah. Usually, remember the idea of a June bride. That's what everybody dreamt about.
Sure.
So I have very few before September.
That is fascinating.
I don't know what it is. Maybe because September is a nice time of the year.
It can be. It can be. Well, I know it's beautiful. I mean, I've always.
And December is Christmassy.
Yeah.
That a lot of them love the idea of the church being decorated with Christmas.
Well, there again, you get back to the losing the point rather than paying attention.
But that's for years has been going on. You know that. For example, when they think about a church, they think about the long aisle. If it doesn't have that long aisle, as the bride comes down, they don't want to. They want that Christmas card picture of a church.
Yeah.
That's the one they want.
Well,
that's their first choice.
Easter looked pretty good.
Yeah, but the chapel, for example, which is the church where I used to help out at, the chapel is spectacular for that.
Sure
it has the long aisle. It has the right number of seats. It's the perfect place. In their minds.
Well, the other thing that I was reading, due to the popularity of catching up, let's just refer to it that way, the catching up from 2021, and I'm sure that maybe even some here in 2022 could possibly, don't even want to think about it, but could possibly get delayed. Those halls, those banquet centers, those facilities have had to rebook twice, okay? Now they're catching up. Finally, in the podcast, and one of the things that I read as well, there's an interest in encouraging people to consider having their weddings on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. Now, that would involve telling people, can you take the day off for our wedding and all of that. But you would be surprised. You would be surprised, I believe. They were saying that the number of people now having weekday weddings is really, really grown due to the availabilities of the churches, the halls, and the catering.
Okay.
All at reduced prices. Finally, your thoughts.
Oh, I agree with you wholeheartedly, but I've never heard of Tuesday or Thursday. Mm-hmm. Friday is where they're all going. And I think most of my weddings are going to be on Friday.
Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, you're going to be hearing about this.
Yeah.
You heard it here first, I hope.
Yeah. Well, Friday, of course, is a day when you could get a hall in a cheaper way, and
not
you're
always.
going to save a few bucks here and there.
But you're definitely going to save if you do it on a Tuesday.
Yeah, but people don't. Generally speaking, at least the people I'm dealing with don't like Friday. That's much more acceptable in their minds.
All right, I'm just going to say this for you slowly.
Sure.
Kick Friday out. Saturday, you're out. Pick one of these days. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. That is your option. What are you going to do? And you're going to probably canvass your friends, ask your mom and dad.
Sure. It doesn't matter what day you get married on.
If 80% of the people can come, then I bet you they can push it to 90 once everybody rethinks it with the New World Order and how we can still do a little bit of work and go to the reception and maybe even tune in.
Or maybe not go.
Or maybe not go.
Yeah.
Maybe not go.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just wanted you to know that the wedding phases are changing and changing while we speak.
I agree with you wholeheartedly.
And I wanted to get your thoughts on the friend ministry and the conduction of a wedding. Is that a word, conduction of a wedding?
Conducting, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
Well, okay. I'm trying to come up with a couple of big words for you.
You don't need to.
Okay.
People understand regular language.
But I just wanted to go over the fact that friends marrying friends, I've seen a lot of this lately.
That's happening a lot.
A lot. And you're right. It is not in a church. It's normally outdoors.
It can't be in the church.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying that the ones that I've attended have been, grass and stand or sand and stand or seats outside, ocean in the background, that sort of thing. And I know that I'm looking at you right now. You're going, I know. I've been to one of those too. And I didn't like it because I knew that inside you'd prefer it to be another way. But I'm glad we talked about it. I'm glad we talked. All right, so do you have a prayer? Do you have something we can pray about here?
Yeah, I think we do because we have a lot of worries on our minds.
Yeah, we still have a war going on, that's for sure.
the war is going on, and people are worried about a lot of things.
Yep, people like to worry. People
Whether
like
or not we should get another
booster.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff.
Let's worry together and say a prayer.
Heavenly Father, I am tempted to worry about so many things. Our world is a mess. Forgive me for focusing on anything or anyone but you. Thank you for the Bible that equips and empowers me to live each day. Right now, I declare that you are my only hope. Please help me remember that. You really are in control. In Jesus' name, amen. God bless you. This is Father Joe Grimaldi, and I look forward to seeing you next time on the Father Joe Podcast.
If you'd like, you can email us. It's frjoepodcast@gmail.com. That's frjoepodcast@gmail.com. We're also on Facebook. Simply search Father Joe Grimaldi. And thanks for listening, everyone.